Yes, students, good morning. So far we have studied about the different type of crosses that were done by Mendel, and these are the monohybrid crosses, a dihybrid crosses, then codominance we have done, and incomplete dominance. Okay, students, so today's lecture we are going to study about why the Mendel's work it is not recognized earlier. What are the problems that were faced by Mendel at that time, that he has done a magnificent work, but that work it remained recognized for so many years. So the first point for this is at the time of Mendel, number one, the communication is not fast at that time. So point number one is communication is very slow. You can say communication was very slow at that time. So the work of Mendel, it was not publicized. And point number two is that Mendel said that factors are discrete units. Factors are discrete units and they never blend. But later some of the biologists they come and they prove that these factors they sometimes undergoes blending, as we have seen in the cross of incomplete dominance, where we have found the expression of both the dominant as well as the recessive traits. So this statement of Mendel that factors they are always discrete units and they never show blending, this is not true. And third very important thing is Mendel is not able to tell us the location of these factors. Mendel was not able to tell the location of these factors. As you know, students, Gladstone was the scientist who have used the term genes for these factors. So though Mendel said that these factors they are responsible for transmission of characters from one generation to another. But where these factors they are actually present, that was not demonstrated by Mendel, that was not proved by Mendel at that time. So this is also the reason that his work it remains unrecognized for several years. And one very important thing is, for the first time, Mendel has used mathematics for sorting out the biological phenomena. So one point is Mendel used mathematical Mendel first used mathematics to solve biological phenomena. The fourth point is that for the first time, Mendel was the person who made use of mathematics to solve biological phenomena or some of the problems in biology. So there is a very less relation between mathematics and biology, as you have studied in so many classes such as monohybrid and dihybrid process. Mendel did calculations by making use of Punnett square, and that is based on mathematics. So some of the scientists they cannot accept the application of mathematics in the field of biology. So this is the reason. And experimental proof about the factors, where these factors they are actually present, and what about their composition. What is the composition of these factors? That was also not explained by Mendel. So these 4 or 5 reasons are there why the Mendel's work is weak, because that is, let us recapitulate. Number one, communication was very slow at that time. So the work of Mendel, it was not publicized, the lack of such a communication. And second point is Mendel said that factors, they are always discrete units, they have their individual identity, and these factors, they never blend during the breeding experiments. So this statement, it was not valid because some of the scientists, they have shown such crosses where the blending of these alleles or genes, they takes place. And third point is Mendel was not able to tell the occasion of the factors. When it was asked to Mendel that where these factors, they are generally located, so Mendel cannot give us the answer that where these factors, they are present, and he is also not able to give the answer that what is the composition of these factors. Actually, these factors are made up of odd things. And fourth point is Mendel used first time mathematical applications for solving biological problems, and that is also not accepted by some of the biologists of that time. So this is the reason why Mendel's work, it remains unrecognized for several years. Okay, but after Mendel, two scientists, and their names are Sutton and Booth. They have given us one theory, and that theory is known as chromosomal theory of inheritance. So these Sutton and Booth, with the help of some advancements in the field of biological apparatus, these two scientists, Sutton and Booth, they tell us where these factors, they are actually present. So Sutton and Booth said that Mendelian factors, that these Mendelian factors, they are present on thread-like structures, called chromosomes, which are found in nucleus. Just an example, Mendel, two scientists, Sutton and Booth, they gave a theory, and that theory is known as chromosomal theory of inheritance. So this Sutton and Booth, they discovered the movement of chromosomes during cell division. They also tells us about the location of these factors, which are actually the genes. So what they say, they said that the behavior of the genes, they are parallel actually to the behavior of the chromosomes. And these factors, which are known as Mendelian factors, or you can say genes in other terms, they said these Mendelian factors or these genes, they are actually present on some thread-like structures, which are the chromosomes, and these chromosomes, they are located inside the nucleus of the cell. So what are the postulates of this chromosomal theory of inheritance? So Sutton and Booth, they gave a statement that the pairing and separation of a pair of chromosomes actually leads to the separation of a pair of genes that are present. What they said, these genes or these factors, they are actually present on the chromosomes. And you know that one gene has how many alleles? So one gene has two alleles. So according to Sutton and Booth, both of these alleles, they are present on the same loci on the homologous chromosome. As you have also studied the process of crossing over or recombination, and you know very well that during the process of crossing over, the homologous chromosomes, they pair together, and as Sutton and Booth tell us that the genes or the factors, they are actually present on these homologous chromosomes. So when these homologous chromosomes, they pair together during the process of meiosis, then the genes that are also present on these homologous chromosomes, they also come together. And when these homologous chromosomes, they get separated after crossing over, as you know that during crossing over, they exchange their parts, so the genes that are present on the chromatids of these homologous chromosomes, they are also shifted from one chromatid to another. So such a phenomenon is known as crossing over. So what they said that the behavior of the genes, they are parallel to the behavior of the chromosome. So during cell division, these homologous chromosomes, they come together. So the gene pairs, they also come near to each other. As I have said that the gene, it consists of two alleles. So both the alleles, they are present on the same loci of the homologous chromosome. And in this way, during the process of cell division, these allele pairs, they shifted from one chromatid to another chromatid, and in this way we obtain different combinations of, you can say different genetic combinations. Okay, student. So this theory is known as chromosomal theory of inheritance. Always remember, the theory was given by the scientists Houghton and Bouverie. So after the chromosomal theory of inheritance, here in your book, one evidence is given about the work of Morgan. So Morgan was the scientist who has done magnificent work in the field of genetics. As you know that Mendel has used pea plants, sweet pea plant for this research. The scientist Morgan, he has done his research on an insect, and that is the common fruit fly. And the name of this fruit fly is Drosophila. Drosophila. So what is the research material of Morgan's research work? That is on fruit fly Drosophila. And why he selected Drosophila for his work? There are so many reasons why Morgan has selected the Drosophila. So one of the important reason is that this Drosophila in a single breeding can give lot of offspring. Lot of, you can say, progeny on offspring. Okay, एक ही सिंगल मीडियम के अंदर एक से ज्यादा ऑफस्प्रिंग और प्रोजेनी को मिल सकते हैं. And for culturing is Drosophila. The culture medium is not very much expensive. Was not very expensive. That to make the gathering of so many Drosophila, what the scientists did at that time, a simple mango fruit can be placed in somewhere, and a lot of Drosophila may get gathered over there. And the third important reason is that mutations can be easily studied in this Drosophila. As the sexes, they are separate. So male and female sexes both are separate. So male and female sexes. Male and female sexes are easily identified. The male Drosophila, they are generally smaller in size, and the female Drosophila, they are generally larger in size. So you can easily identify that which Drosophila is the male one and which is the female one. And Mendel is able to study the hereditary variations. Okay, it is very easy to study hereditary variations in Drosophila. Hereditary variations in Drosophila. Student, what I said that after Mendel there was another scientist and his name was Morgan. And Morgan selected the fruit fly Drosophila for this research because of the following reasons. Number one, why he selected Drosophila? Because in a single breeding, this Drosophila can give lot of progeny or offspring. And the culture medium for the gathering of this Drosophila was not also expensive. A simple, you can say, right, you can make gathering of lot of Drosophilas. And third one is male and female sexes. They can be easily distinguished from each other. As the male Drosophila, they are smaller in size, and the female Drosophila, they are very bigger in size. And the fourth thing is that hereditary variations or different type of mutations, or you can say the linked characters, they can be very easily studied by Morgan in Drosophila. So that is the reason why Morgan has selected Drosophila for his research. Okay, student, after this, we are doing a very important concept here, and that is linkage and recombination. So I am using here two terms. One is linkage and another is recombination. So always remember the term recombination, which stands for crossing over. Okay, student, linkage and recombination. So always remember the term recombination, it is always used for crossing over. Okay, but so what is crossing over? Crossing over, as you have learned in class 11, that crossing over is a kind of a phenomenon that takes place in which stage? Packaging stage. You can say packaging sub-stage of prophase 1 of meiosis. Okay, you are very familiar with the term crossing over. Crossing over is a kind of a phenomenon in which homologous chromosomes they pair together, and as you know that the factors of the genes they are also present on these homologous chromosomes. So when these homologous chromosomes they pair together, they form a tetrads. So during crossing over these homologous chromosomes, they exchange their segments. And as you know that the genes they are also present on the chromatids of these homologous chromosomes. And one gene it consists of how many alleles? Two alleles. So both the alleles they are present on the, you can say, same loci on the homologous chromosome. So these genes they also shifted from one chromosome to another. Suppose there is a gene A present over here, and its corresponding, you can say this is both of these arms they are the sister chromatids of this chromosome, and these two arms are the sister chromatids of the second chromosome. But arm number 2 and 3, these 2 and 3 chromatids they are non-sister chromatids. So always remember the process of crossing over it takes place between the non-sister chromatids. So as you know that in a gene how many alleles are present? So always in a gene the 2 alleles are present. And out of these 2 alleles, one allele is always dominant. One allele is always dominant and other allele is always recessive. Okay, students? So if I have a gene that has a paper capital T, small t, this means that both the alleles of this gene capital T, small t, and one allele which is the dominant one which is present on this chromatid, and at the same side on the other non-sister chromatid, it's another allele small t is present. And if we have one another gene that has a combination capital R and small r, so you know that capital R is the dominant one and small r is the recessive one. So this means this capital R it is present very near to this T, and this small r it is present on the same side of the other non-sister group. So Morgan has introduced the term linkage here. So what he said, when the two genes which have their corresponding alleles present on the same side of the homologous chromosomes, they are very near to each other. Okay students, मॉर्गन ने ये कहा कि जब एक जीन जिसके कि दो एलील्स हैं और इस तरह के हमारे पास कितने जीन्स हैं? 2 जीन्स हैं और दोनों के जीन्स के जो एलील्स हैं अगर उनके बीच में जो डिस्टेंस है वो बहुत कम है तो उस केस में हमें पैरेंटल कॉम्बिनेशंस जो है वो ज्यादा मिलती है. ठीक है? When we done the crossing of such type of individuals, or you can say parents, in which both the genes they are present very near to each other, and their corresponding alleles which are present on the homologous chromosomes on the same locality also have very less distance between each other. And when we done the cross pollination or cross hybridization among them, then when you obtain the F1 hybrid, then this F1 hybrid. Okay, student, this F1 hybrid, as you know, according to the law of dominance, this F1 hybrid, it resembles the dominant character. Okay, and when we run the surface of this F1 hybrid, then what do you find? You find both the parental as well as the non-parental forms. But if the situation is of linkage and the genes they are very near to each other, in that situation what happens? We obtain 90% parental characters and only 10% non-parental characters are. So if the recombination frequency is like this one, that 90:10 ratio is there, 90% parental characters are there and 10% non-parental characters are there. This means both the genes, they are the linked genes and the phenomenon is known as linkage. The students, on the basis of the recombination frequency, we will find out whether complete linkage is there or incomplete linkage is there. So as I said, if the genes they have very less distance between each other, then during the process of crossing over, when the homologous chromosome they exchange their segments, what happens? Both the alleles that are present on this chromosome, it move towards the next one. And similarly, both the alleles that are present on the adjacent chromatid, non-sister chromatid, it also move together. So in this way, in the F2 generation, what you find? You find more and more parental characters as compared to the non-parental character. So if the recombination frequency is high, this means that is the case of complete linkage. And if the recombination frequency is such that 60% parental characters are there and 40% non-parental characters are there, then this is also the case of linkage, but it is the incomplete linkage. So always remember that the distance between the genes, it will actually decide whether the genes are the linked genes or they are the free type of genes. So Morgan and his one student, and his name is Alfred Stewart. On the basis of this recombination frequency, they proved the phenomenon of linkage, and he has done so many crosses by taking a Drosophila. So in his one cross, he crossed two Drosophilas as parents. So one Drosophila has yellow body and red eye, and another Drosophila is of, you can say, white-eyed females and brown body. ओके बेटे, एक ड्रोसोफिला उसने ली जिसके अंदर उसने येलो बॉडी, उसकी येलो बॉडी थी और रेड आइज थी, और दूसरी वाली जो उसने ली जिसकी की वाइट आइज थी और कौन सी थी, ब्राउन बॉडी थी. तो जब उनके बीच में क्रॉसिंग की गई तो उसने देखा कि रेड आई वाली जो ड्रोसोफिला थी जिसकी येलो बॉडी थी, तो रेड और येलो करेक्टर्स जो है वो साथ चल रहे थे, और उसी तरह से जो वाइट करेक्टर है वो किसके साथ चल रहा था, येलो बॉडी जो जीन है उसके साथ चल रहा था. मतलब बोथ द जीन्स दे आर मूविंग टुगेदर. दिस मींस such type of genes are the actually the linked genes. So what Alfred Stewart done, Alfred Stewart said that the distance between the genes, or you can say the alleles, it will decide what is the recombination frequency. If we get the value of recombination frequency very less, then this means both the genes they move together and we obtain more and more parental character, and that is the case of linkage. But if there is a proper distance between both the genes that are present on the homologous chromosome, in that case the recombination frequency is high, so we obtain non-parental characters along with the parental one, and the genes they are not the linked genes. Okay student, the next topic which we are going to study here is sex determination. So here I am going to tell you three types of sex determination. So first we are going to determine the sexual mechanism in case of insects. Okay student, first is sex determination in insects. Sex determination in insects. First time the determination of sex in insect was done by the scientist, and the name of the scientist is Henry. has been found that there are some species of insects that produce how many types of sperms? Two types of sperms. Two types of sperms are produced. Two types of sperms they are produced. So some of the sperms they have X chromosome, and some of the sperms they are lacking their X. So what they said, when such type of male insects whose makeup is XO, they get mated with the female insect whose makeup is XX. So what happens? These male they can produce two type of sperms. The sperm which contain X chromosome and the sperm which is lacking with that X chromosome. Whereas the female it always produced egg, and both of the eggs they have X chromosome and X chromosome. So if the fusion of the sperm which takes place with the egg, it contains the X chromosome. Then the makeup of that female, makeup of that insect is XX. This means this insect is the female insect, and if the sperm which is lacking with that X chromosome, it's making the it get fused with the X and making X chromosome. Then the offspring which is formed, it is XO type of offspring, and this XO type of offspring it is actually the male insects. So here it said that males they are heterozygous because they can produce two type of gametes. One sperm which contain X chromosome and the other one which do not have X chromosome. So if the sperm that contains the X chromosome it fuses with the egg which also contains the X chromosome, then the makeup of the offspring it is XX and that develops into a female insect. And if that sperm which have no X chromosome it gets fused with the egg containing X chromosome, then the makeup of the offspring is XO and this develops into the male. So here it said that the female they are homozygous in nature, or you can say they are homogametic in nature, whereas the male they are the heterogametic because they can produce two types of sperms. Okay, student, let's say sex determination in case of humans. We are well familiar that in humans, the males are heterogametic. You know that in humans, males they are heterogametic. So as this males they are heterogametic, this means they can produce two types of humans. They can produce two types of gametes or two types of sperms, which contains either contain X chromosome or they contain Y chromosome. Okay, students. And what about the females? The females they are homogametic. Females they are homogametic, and they always produce the eggs. And each of these eggs will always contain X and X chromosome. So what happens when a male whose makeup is XY is fused with a female? Or fertilization takes place between both of these. This is the male parent, and this is the female parent. Then what happens? This male parent it can produce two types of sperm which contain X chromosome and Y chromosome, and the female it produces either X chromosome or Y chromosome. Okay, students. So when the sperm containing X chromosome it fuses the egg which also contains X chromosome, then the offspring makeup is XX, and this offspring it develops into the girl child. And if the sperm that contains the Y chromosome it fuses with the egg which contains the X chromosome, then the makeup of the child is XY. and this XY offspring, it later develops into the boy child. So there is the chances of 50% development of offspring into girl child and 50% offspring they can develop into boy child. So this means that the person who is responsible for sex determination in case of humans, he is actually the male parent. Okay, students, that you have also learned in class 10, and here we are going to discuss a very different type of sex determination that is seen in case of birds. So here in case of birds, as you have seen in case of insects and in case of humans, the males they are heterogametic in nature and females are monogametic. But in case of birds, the females they are heterogametic in nature. Sex determination in case of birds. So here the females they are heterogametic in nature. Females are heterogametic and they can produce two types of eggs. They can produce two types of eggs that vary according to their chromosome. They can produce egg either containing Z chromosome or they can produce egg which contains W chromosome. But what about the males? So males are monogamic. Males are monogamic here. They produce the same type of sperms. वो हमेशा एक जैसे ही sperms produce करेंगे males. तो कहते हैं कि males जो हैं वो हमेशा ऐसे sperms produce करते हैं जिनके अंदर हमेशा Z chromosome ही होगी. Okay, student. Now when mating is done between both the individuals, and you know that male parent they always have sperms containing Z and Z type of chromosome. And the female parent or female bird, it can produce egg either containing X chromosome or it contains W chromosome. So when fertilization takes place between both, and if the male which has sperm containing Z chromosome, it fuses with the egg that contains the Z chromosome, then an offspring is formed whose makeup is ZZ. This means this offspring is going to develop into the female bird. Okay, students? No, this offspring is going to develop into the male bird because males here are the homogamy. Okay, student, by mistake I have said female, but this is going to develop into the male bird. And you know that if the second sperm, as you know that sperm always contain a Z chromosome. So if the sperm containing Z chromosome and fuses with egg that contains the W chromosome, then the offspring makeup is ZW, and this is going to develop into the, you can say, female bird. Because the females they are actually the heterogametic in this case. So this is all about the sex determination in case of insect, in humans, as well as in case of birds. Okay, student, I am on page number 87 and we are now discussing the very important topic, and that is mutation. So students, what is mutation? If I have to define mutation in one line, I can say mutation can be defined as a random change in the genetic material. When there is variations or when there is certain changes or alterations occurs in DNA sequences or basis of DNA, you can call it as mutations. What are mutations? So these mutations, they are alterations in DNA sequences. These are alterations in DNA sequences, and because of these alterations, This results in changes in genotype and phenotype of the individual. You can say mutations, they may be defined as alteration in DNA sequences which results in changes in genotype and phenotype of an individual. Genotype and phenotype of an individual. Okay, students, what kind of mutation these are? If the mutation it takes place in a single base pair of DNA sequences, I said mutation takes place in single base pair. The mutation takes place in single base pair and cause change in it. And cause change in it. This means such type of mutations they are known as point mutations. Such type of mutations they are known as point mutations. Okay, students? And if changes occur in so many genes, if changes occurs in so many bases or genes at a time, ठीक है, अगर वो कहते हैं कि एक ही समय में एक से ज्यादा बेसिस या जीन्स के अंदर जो है वो चेंजेस होती है, तो such type of mutations they are known as frame shift mutations. Okay, बेटे? It may be deletions, it may be deletions or insertions. यहाँ तो काफी सारे जीन्स एक ही टाइम पे क्या हो जाते हैं, डिलीट हो जाते हैं, या फिर काफी सारे नए जीन्स जो है वो एक ही टाइम पे आके ऐड हो जाते हैं और पूरा का पूरा एक बेसिक फ्रेमवर्क जो है पूरे बेसिस पे एक साथ चेंजेस आ जाती हैं. Then such type of mutations they are known as frame shift mutations. Okay, so these mutations, as you have learned, that in sexually reproducing organisms, variations are always there. So these variations they result due to these mutations or by the process of crossing over, which is also known as recombination. So I have discussed here two types of mutations are there. If there is a change in a single base pair of DNA sequences, as you know that codons are present and these codons are actually the triplet of bases. If there is a change in a single base pair of that codon, then this means that such type of mutations are known as point mutations. But if the random change occurs in so many bases of the DNA on the same time, and that is due to deletion of some of the genes or due to insertion of many genes, then such type of mutations they are known as the frame shift mutations. Okay, student, why these mutations they are caused? So there are some mutation causing agents, and these are known as mutagens. So what are these mutagens? Mutagens are the mutation causing agents. So they may be physical in nature or they may be chemical in nature. If you have to give the example of physical type of mutagens, then these may be different type of electromagnetic radiations such as X-rays or you can say gamma rays. And if you have to give the example of chemical mutagens, so these may be some chemicals found in your body. So this is all about mutation, students. Ultraviolet radiations, they can also act as mutagens in some cases. So up to this page number 87 you have to revise. Okay, students, so that's all in today's lecture. Have a nice day, and after this we will discuss the pedigree analysis and Mendelian and genetic disorder. So revise your chapter up to this page number 87. Thank you.